Okay. So, we're just going to talk about Simone and her ACE score. So, if I'm looking at, um, did we want to go over which ones that we felt as though she did hit on the ACE score on the
Yeah,
survey?
let's go point by point through the ACE survey. So,
Okay.
number one, did a parent, step parent, or other adult in the household often or very often swear, insult, put down, humiliate, or act in a way that made you afraid you might get physically hurt? I put yes for this one. Did you as
Yes.
well?
Yes.
Okay. Want to take turns reading them and read the second one?
Well, I'm don't have my ACE sheet up here still.
Okay,
Let's see.
no worries. I'll just read them all. So, number
Okay.
two was did a parent, step parent, or other adult in the household push, grab, slap, or throw something at you, or ever hit you so hard that you had marks or were injured? I put yes for that one too.
Yes, I had yes.
Okay. And then did an adult or person at least 5 years older than you ever touch or fondle you, or have you touched their body in a sexual way, or attempt or actually have oral, anal, or vaginal intercourse with you? I put no for that one as far
Yes,
as
I
I
had
can.
no.
Okay. So number four, did you often or very often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special, or your family didn't look out for each other, feel close to each other, or support each other? I had put no for that one as well because of the sister,
Right.
um, mostly, but there may have been other examples of that too.
Yes. Yeah, she also reports always feeling loved, especially by her siblings.
Right. Yes, I remember that. And then number five, did you did you ever not have enough to eat, have to wear dirty clothes, or had no one to protect you, or were your parents drunk or high, too drunk or high to take care of you or take you to the doctor if needed? And then for that one, I did put yes.
I did as well. I know that she relied on school meals mostly and a lot of times only had one meal per day.
Right. And then number six, were your parents ever separated or divorced? I put yes.
Yes.
Number seven, was your parent, step parent, or another adult who was helping to raise you often or very often pushed, grabbed, slapped, or had something thrown at them, or sometimes often or very often kicked, bit, and hit with a fist, or hit with something hard, or let's see, repeatedly hit or threatened with a gun or knife. I believe her mother was pretty battered at times, so I put yes for that one.
Yep, I did as well.
hmm And then eight, do you live with anyone who was a problem drinker or alcoholic or who used street drugs? I put yes because of the boyfriend that lived with the mother.
Yes. Yeah, Ben was an alcoholic, but her father
Mhm.
also had substance problems as well, is what I have here.
Right, right. Number nine, was a household member depressed or mentally ill, or did a household member attempt suicide? I had yes for that one because of what the mother was going through.
Yep, same here.
And then 10, did a household member go to prison? So this was probably the one that I was like the most like, because I don't know if her biological father was ever like a true household member. So I actually put no for that one. What did you have?
So I have yes,
Okay.
because her dad was in and out of jail. I know that it could, like you said, vary as to whether or not he was a household member, but I counted him
Mhm.
as one just because it was her biological father. And it doesn't really suggest whether she had a lot of contact with him or not, so I assumed that she did.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, even though that's not what I had, I think I kind of agree with you just because if it's a gray area, I think it's usually good to, select yes. And then
Right.
11, did you see or hear someone being beaten up, stabbed, or shot in real life multiple times? What did you have for this one?
So I have no. Oh wait, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Wait. Yeah, I have no. So she witnessed domestic violence, but I didn't feel like she repeatedly saw the community violence at that level.
Oh, I see. So you think this one is kind of like referring to outside of the household.
That's kind of how I took it.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we just answered differently for 10 and 11 then, but that's
Yeah,
why we ended up getting the same
with the
score of
same
10.
score.
It's just
Yeah.
because like I had answered no for 10 and yes for 11, and with you it was vice versa. I had put yes just I guess I wasn't thinking that it was referring to outside the home, so I was just thinking of like the mother and how she was beaten by her boyfriend in front of Simone. But
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah, I looked at this one more so as like the community as
mhm.
a whole. So,
I mean, I think that makes sense. Again, I agree with your interpretation because if it wasn't referring to the community, then it would almost be like 11 would just be like a duplicate of one of those ones before. Because I think,
right.
yeah, number seven was pretty much the same thing.
Hmm.
Okay. And then 12, did you often, very often, or sometimes feel that you were treated badly or unfairly because of your race or ethnicity? Um, I put no, just because of what Simone said herself. She felt that she wasn't ever mistreated for that reason. Did you have
Yes.
the same?
Yep.
Mhm. And then 13, did you feel unsafe in your neighborhood some, most, or all of the time? I had yes.
Yeah, I did put yes, because of the drug activity and the robberies within the community.
Right. 14, were you bullied by a peer or classmate all of the time or most of the time? I think Simone reported that she never felt that she had really been bullied, so I put no for that one.
Correct. That's what I did as well.
And then 15, were you ever in foster care? And I had yes, because I think at least for a short time they were.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was twice, and it was primarily due to her mother's hospitalizations
Mhm.
when she for mental health.
Right. And so then I guess if we add all of those up, it would either be 10 or 11, depending on how we would take number 11, I suppose. But I mean, is that what we would get? Right.
So, we both had flip-flopped on 10 and 11.
Hmm.
So, I think either way, if I was to go with your interpretation, it would be 10, and if you were to go with my interpretation, it would still be 10. So, I
Okay.
think either way.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, an A score of 10. And then let's see, I guess the next step, do we have something that kind of like talks about like what different A scores mean or
So I know if you score above a 4, you're considered high risk,
okay.
very high
So
risk. So that's what I have her at, is very high
mhm,
risk.
definitely.
Um, but I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm not sure. I think there's like a moderate risk as well. If you have like
Okay.
two exposures, two or more,
Mhm.
you're like moderate. And then 0 to 2, you're low.
Got it. Well, yeah, 10 is a lot more than 4, so I think she's
Yeah.
definitely very high risk.
Yeah, I have her as very high risk.
Hmm.
Um, and then also with her struggles that she's currently experiencing, I think they kind of um, correlate with her high A score, um, specifically the postpartum depression that she's currently exhibiting. That's highly common among women that have high A scores, is what I read.
Yep, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense, given what she went through when she was younger.
Yeah, and it seems as if she is struggling with depression, with her
Hmm.
is it affect? She has an
Yes,
affect. Yeah,
yeah, kind of kind of blank, non-reactive affect.
right.
Mhm.
And then also to top it all off with, she's primarily caring for her children
Hmm.
alone. I mean, she does have CJ, I think it is.
Yes.
But see, if I remember correctly, CJ's working a lot, so she's primarily on her own
Yep.
for
Yeah, it seems like
caring for the kids.
he's not really helping much at all as far as like the child care is concerned.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes. So that just kind of exasperates some of her symptoms that she may be experiencing.
Hmm.
Because that's a lot to take on, especially when you're experiencing postpartum, and then to
Yeah.
have that loneliness on top of it and not feeling
Mhm.
like you have many supports.
Right. And when she just had the one child, she had her mother and her sister to kind of like help at home since she was living with them, and now she has two children and she's without that support. So
Mhm.
it definitely makes sense that she's feeling it more now than when she just had the first child. Zaire,
Right.
I think, is his name. Hmm. Okay. So it says to go through the PowerPoint in the little book of aces, apply
Hmm.
it to the case.
So with the PowerPoint, it to me it mostly, well, I feel like the PowerPoint and the Little Book of Aces are very similar actually.
Hmm.
Um, talking about how common aces are for the different types, which with her being 10, the four or more is 12%. So she's within the 12% range of people that have a higher ACE score.
The percent, do you know where you got that from specifically with?
That is in the ACEs PowerPoint.
Okay.
And it looks like it's page 12, or at least it has a 12 at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, so she's definitely very high risk because it four is as high as it goes and she's six beyond that. So
Right.
yeah.
And then I would be concerned as well with the fact that she has a high ACE score. She's experiencing postpartum.
Mhm.
She's also um, limited uh, limited supports. I would be concerned about her attachment style with her child, with both
Right.
their children actually.
Hmm.
Um, because a little bit further down in the PowerPoint, it does talk about the follow-up studies and how there's lower levels of parent-child attachment when someone has a higher ACE score.
Right. And it seems like there is even kind of like a physical symptom of that. Maybe not a huge deal, but it does mention that she has tried to breastfeed Amber, which is the new child, but she's gotten frustrated because she feels like she doesn't have enough milk supply.
Right.
And so then Amber's been on formula, I think, ever since. And I don't know a whole lot about it, but I feel like I've seen studies where, just like the breastfeeding process can be like very significant in just like the development of like a young child, whether it happens or it doesn't. So just one little thing there.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if the milk supply is possibly due to the postpartum and
Mhm.
the inability to have that attachment,
Right. Yeah,
because that
it's
does
definitely
make
all
a huge
connected.
difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and then I feel like the little book of ACEs kind of goes along the same lines as the PowerPoint um, with the discussions of like what kind of disorders and diseases that someone could exhibit if they have a high ACE score,
Right.
such as like the type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, things of that nature, and ultimately, a higher mortality rate for premature
Right.
mortality.
Yep.
Just trying to pull up the little book of ACEs again right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of sifting through it. So I know, let's see, it would be page like 16 in the little book of aces. The title is How Can Aces Be Managed? So what it talks about here is educational approach, population health approach, and then like an asset-based approach. And I know with like the embrace, it's to be emotionally and brain resilient to adverse childhood experiences. It's talked about. So I haven't actually started counseling yet, but it
Mhm.
sounds like you have. Have you been a counselor for some time now?
I have. I counsel domestic violence victims.
Oh, okay. So this is somewhat related to that. Would you want to talk about kind of like how you would handle someone like Simone in like this kind of situation, like what treatment would look like next?
Yeah,
Would you-
so with somebody that has a high ACE score, I think I like to do the ACE score with my clients, some of them, and then just so that they can kind of get a feel for where they are. And I feel like it's very empowering because they're able to see like, oh, well, some of the things that I am experiencing is actually coming from something that I necessarily couldn't help. So that's very empowering for them. Um, so just kind of going it based off of a like trauma lens. I feel like it's mainly trauma counseling, which a lot of people like to do CBT for trauma, but I personally don't. Um, I feel like a lot of times my clients come in, they're not in the mental state to be able to do CBT because I feel like that's really brain focused. And a lot of times they're not in the highest portion of their brain to have cognitive thinking.
Mhm.
So that's not something that I would like necessarily start out with. Um, so
But then,
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, so sounds like you do use like the ACE questionnaire, and then if not CBT, how do you think you would kind of like start after just like like the first assessment with Simone?
So with Simone, um, I would definitely want to talk to her about her signs of depression, um, and see if that is something that I am able to help with to kind of alleviate some of the symptoms. Um, whether that's through just therapy in general or if there's medication that's needing to be utilized. Um, because some postpartum with some people with postpartum, they absolutely need medication to level themselves out. Um, so that would be like the first thing that I would want to talk about with her.
Okay.
And then
What kind
refer,
of, go ahead,
oh, go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just going to ask, I was curious, like, do you know specifically what medications tend to help with that sort of thing?
So I know a lot of physicians will or if they're diagnosed with postpartum, Zoloft is a lot of the times the first thing that somebody would be looked at with to see if that's something that they could utilize.
Okay, that makes sense.
Obviously, there's other medications that could be used, but I guess it would be dependent on your medical history.
Right.
But I know that that's just working with women in general at the shelter. We've had a lot of women come in that have recently had children, have experienced postpartum, and 9 times out of 10, they are prescribed Zoloft.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the number one choice there.
I think it's a high choice for a lot of the physicians for when
Okay.
somebody experiences postpartum.
Gotcha.
Um, and then I know that there is counselors that specifically are utilized for women that experience postpartum. So like our hospital, we have like I said, they're postpartum therapists that are there for women who just recently had babies and are experiencing that.
Oh, that's great. So
Yeah.
they specialize in that sort of thing.
Yes.
Hmm.
And sometimes that could be helpful because it's their specialty. And I personally feel like somebody who is experiencing high levels of postpartum, they absolutely should go to the specialist. Because
Yeah.
there's all different aspects of somebody with postpartum. It could be minor postpartum, or it could be up to the point where they are having the hallucinations. They almost go into a psychosis with postpartum. So, um, depending on where they are with their postpartum, I think it could be very beneficial for them to have somebody that specializes in it. So if that was the case for Simone, if she was at that level, then I would probably refer her to a specialist as well as being there for some of her other needs, as well as referring her to someone that would be able to prescribe her medication should that need be.
Gotcha. I
How
actually
about
had
you?
no idea. Well, I was just going to say I had no idea that it could be so severe that there are hallucinations involved. I didn't know that. I thought it was more or less just like severe depression. I didn't know that there was like some level of kind of like psychosis that could go along with that.
Yes, and I think it's actually called postpartum psychosis, if I'm correct. I could be wrong, but I believe that is the case. We've actually, in our area, had a mom that experienced postpartum psychosis and attempted to kill her child because she thought her child was the devil.
Oh, geez.
Um, and unfortunately, she was just not diagnosed properly with her postpartum when she had the baby, and that's where it exasperated to. And then I can't remember in a legal standpoint what actually happened to her because once she was put on meds and regulated, they realized that this never would have happened had she had been properly diagnosed at the beginning. So
Hmm.
I honestly can't remember. I'll have to reach out to our um, legal advocate to find out if she remembers what had actually transpired with that person. I find that very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot with this, that I have no real experience or even education with the pregnancy and like postpartum side of things. Um, but yeah, I think everything that you talked about makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then I think also with her with treatment is getting back to the basics of just trying to identify some supports that she could potentially have that maybe she's overlooking. Um, Maybe that could even be, you know, if it's safe for her to reconnect with her mom, or even siblings, and maybe that would be a good source of support. And if for some reason that's not possible, or even if that's not something that she's wanting to do at that moment, maybe even referring her to other services like support groups, mom groups that could potentially understand where she's coming from. That would be something really helpful for her.
Definitely. Especially if it's that same sister that she talks about as someone who is like a big support to her. I mean, having her around not only for like the kids, but also just like as a really big like an emotional support for herself, I think would be really
Absolutely.
great for everyone.